Once you understand what a formula is, you can use Excel to make any type of calculation with accuracy. In this lesson, we'll view a formula in a cell, identify the parts of a formula, and see the results of a formula. Here's the workbook we opened in the previous lesson, the TripAdvisor Payroll Calculator. This file is used to calculate payroll for the TripAdvisors at Quest Specialty Travel. It stores information about the hours each employee worked, both regular and overtime pay for each employee, and it uses formulas to calculate the regular pay and the overtime pay for each employee. We're going to view the formulas used in columns E and F to calculate regular pay and overtime pay. I'll click cell E5. I know I'm in cell E5 because it shows up here in the name box. Here in the worksheet, the cell shows the regular pay for this employee, Peter Bruegel. But notice up in the formula bar that we don't see the number 640. Instead, we see a formula. A formula is an equation in a worksheet that calculates a result. You use a formula whenever you want Excel to make a calculation. It can be as simple as adding a group of numbers or something more complex like the future value of an investment. In Excel, you enter a formula in the cell where you want the results to appear. We want cell E5 to display the regular pay for this employee. So this is where we enter the formula to calculate his pay. A formula always begins with an equal sign. The formula says equals cells B5 times cell D5. The asterisk is the multiplication sign. You can use any arithmetic operator in a formula, like times, plus, minus, and division. There's a table in the book that reviews the basic arithmetic operators. Cell B5 contains the hours worked for this employee. Right here, 40 hours. And cell D5 contains his hourly rate of pay. Notice how the heading in the worksheet, name, hours, and hourly rate, help us interpret this information. This employee worked 40 hours, right here, 40 hours, and his hourly rate is $16. So the result tells us his regular pay is $640. You might wonder why the formula uses these cell addresses instead of just reading equals 40 times 16. It's because using cell addresses whenever you can ultimately saves a lot of time. If you later change a value in a cell, say we give Peter a raise and change his hourly rate here to 20. So I just click on the cell, type in 20, and hit enter. The formula will still be accurate. It's just multiplying the hours he worked by his rate of pay, no matter what those numbers happen to be. And so E5 just displays a new result, which we see here. When we changed it to 20, the new result became 800. So the more you use cell references, the less you have to go back and edit your formulas if other information changes. I'm going to actually go back and change Peter's hourly rate to 16. His now regular pay becomes $640. You'll also notice his overtime pay is calculated. So I'm going to click in cell D in F5. This cell contains a formula that calculates the overtime pay, or OT pay, as it's called in the heading. It reads equals cell C5 times the product of 2 times DF. D5. Employees get paid twice their hourly rate for overtime hours. So that's why we have 2 times D5. And we want to multiply Peter's number of overtime hours by this result. 2 times D5. So that's why this part is in parentheses. Using parentheses tells Excel to calculate these results before calculating the rest of the formula. So in this formula, the hourly rate is doubled, and then that value is multiplied by the number of overtime hours, and the result is $128. We'll create our own formulas in the lessons to come, but what I want to point out, one of the most important pieces to this video is knowing the order of operations. The order of operations is very, very important, and as we can see in this formula where we're using parentheses, that is one of the order of operations. Remember, the order of operations is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, P for parentheses, please, E for excuse exponents, my multiplication, D division, A addition, S subtraction. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We do parentheses first, exponents second, multiplication and division from left to right, then addition and subtraction from left to right. So that comes into play as we're creating formulas in Microsoft Excel. So we want to make sure we're including thinking about the order of operations and how important that is.